to What We Like. We're your hosts, Cindy and Sonia.
Join us each week as we discuss the world of adulthood with some Ratchet Recap and Love sessions.
Should be petty because I have a petty spirit. So if my petty spirit is live and well,
I definitely recommend.
Because I feel like it's my page.
Right.
And I should be able to post what I want to post.
I live my life unapologetically. I do. Hey, Cindy.
Hey, Sonia.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. It's going to be in the 80s today. I have a massage. So I'm starting off on a good note, and hopefully it's going to be a great week.
Yeah, actually, it's supposed to be in the upper 60s here, which is like a heat wave for us. So
That's cold for me.
So I'm excited about that. I'm going to take the dog out for a walk and maybe hit the grocery store and get some lunch for next week. So I'm planning on starting off the week on a good note with some heat in my life.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Let's go ahead and jump into this week's car chatter. And I had a couple things, and I'm sure we won't hit on them all, but just a few of them. One was, we talked about it a few months ago, the referee that cut the student's hair. You remember we touched on that. That was in the news again, and apparently the ref is threatening to sue the athletic association for defamation because he said he was only following protocol. And I know when we talked about it, we were thinking the suit was going to come from the family of this teenager, but the referee is threatening to sue. I was like, okay, yeah. I was a little surprised about that one. Like, do you have a case?
Right.
Because I was thinking the other side had a case.
Right. So that goes to show you that he had no remorse for what he did to this young man, that he feels justified and he feels like he was wronged in the situation. And you cut somebody's hair.
He followed protocol. He said that this is what the rules said. He said he gave them an opportunity to get some type of head covering, head wrap or something. They didn't have anything. And he was doing what protocol called for him to do.
I don't know. See that. I would want to see that it says in the rule book that if they don't have the proper covering or they can't put it up or whatever, because I've seen white boys with their ponytails in the top of their head. So I would want to see that says you're justified in cutting someone's hair right there on the spot. Like that. Yeah, that just doesn't make sense to me.
That was pretty interesting. We'll see how that one plays out. And then there was something else that Meek Mill said. I don't remember the setting where I think he was doing an interview somewhere, but he says he doesn't owe anything to anyone, and specifically speaking, his family. So the question came up is if mainly celebrities or even people in their everyday life, if they are the ones that have garnered some type of success in their family, do they owe anything to their families? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
And so he's basically saying he's the one, he made it out, he has the money, and it could be the same for any of us. Maybe not on that status, but maybe someone who is doing well for themselves and maybe the other family members are not. And the question came up, do you owe anything to your family? And his thing was, no, I don't. And he went as far to say, well, I'm supposed to give, my grandmother 10 bands or my auntie because they babysat me when I was younger. So he, in his mindset, no, I don't owe anybody anything.
Well, I always joke about if I hit the lottery or something like that, I have a list of people, depending on how much I get, that, I would want to either retire or, break them off a little something or take them on a trip, depending on how much I get. Because I do feel not obligated. Like if I couldn't or if I didn't, I'm sure that they would understand. But I do feel like there's people in my life that I would want to do something for because they've been there for me in some sort of way throughout my life, whether it's a friend or a aunt or uncle or mother-in-law or father-in-law. These are people who, did stuff for me when they didn't have to. So I feel like if I got that financial opportunity, I would want to do something for them. I don't think that they would expect it or, call me as soon as I hit the lottery and be like, okay, when do I get my check?
Okay, so even if you didn't hit the lottery, because we know that doesn't happen to
or
most
even
of us.
if I came, even if I got a great job and I
Right.
blew up,
Yes.
I still don't think that they would expect it. I would just want to do it though. Just for me, I would want to do it. And I get what he's saying. He doesn't have to do anything for anybody,
And that's true. They actually talked about this on the Breakfast Club as well. And they had the same view. They said they didn't feel like they owed anybody, but with the exception of a few of them said that doesn't extend to all of their family members or friends, but they all pretty much agreed that mom, grandmother, those people, yes, they definitely do feel obligated or feel like they owe their moms and or their grandmothers, if those were the ones that raised them, and they would be there for them. But I'm sure that's very difficult when you reach a certain status and you have so many people pulling on you and wanting and having that hand out. But I also think it's very clear and we know who was there for us, who took care of us, who sacrificed for us.
Right.
And those people I would feel obligated to take care of.
Right. I don't think that I could move up in life and get a better house and nice cars and travel all the time and then watch my mom or grandmother who is there for me, watch them still live in the neighborhood and struggling. I just don't think that I could do that. But I mean, I guess you don't actually owe anybody anything, but I feel like I would. Like I feel like I couldn't go through life enjoying myself and then somebody call and say your grandma, losing her house or, that kind of thing. I just don't think I could do that.
I agree. I would always feel like, okay, my parents, first and foremost, I would always make sure that they are good. And my siblings, my two brothers, I would make sure that they're good. So, and that's just the giving spirit within me. I'm going to make sure that my people are good.
Right.
But I can also see on his end, but I just think that he went out there a little bit when he was like, no, grandma, no nobody. And maybe he didn't have that type of relationship with his parents or his grandmother where he felt like they were really there for him. And I guess if that's the case, I can see him coming from that viewpoint. But that wouldn't be me, and that's not how I would look at that situation.
No.
Okay, let's go into this week's conversation. And I thought that we could talk about significant others or mates or partners and our expectations and what we look for in a mate when we
Okay.
were in our, say, 20s, and what we look for in a mate today, over 45, over 50.
Okay. Okay.
And has that changed? Or I'm sure it has changed, but how it's changed?
Okay.
So, when you were in your 20s, what were your must haves?
My must-haves were really simple. Um, I just I wanted the basic stuff. I wanted him to either be in school or had some kind of goal set for himself. He's going to finish school, he's going to do this. He, had some goals lined up. But I don't think that I enforced them. Like, I wasn't like, oh, well, I can't get with him because he's not, he doesn't have any goals or he didn't have a job. I was kind of lax with it. Like, oh, okay, well, he's working at Exxon, but he's going to do, whatever, I was kind of lax with it,
Oh
And so
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think, my goals were, my requirements were really enforced. I would
Right.
say this is what I want. I want him to do this. I want him to, but I was kind of lax. Like, oh, I want a man who gonna open the door, who gonna do this. And he pull up and he looking at me like, get out, and I'm like, oh, well, he doesn't do that, So I was
Oh,
kind
in
of
my
lax.
20s, I'm having fun. I,
Right.
I was having fun. I had, oh, I was in college, but I had my own place. I had my own car, and I was able to do me. So I didn't have a whole lot of requirements for him.
Right.
If he had a vehicle, or at least was able to get from point A to point B without needing my assistance, that was good for me. If he was able to take care of himself, that was good for me. This other stuff, or who or what are you going to be in 20 years? I didn't really think about that at the time. I was having fun, and I was taking care of me. If he was able to take care of him, then we could hang out and have a good old merry time.
Right. Right.
So it was.
I think that's what I was doing. I wanted to have all these requirements because, I had children young. So I had children. So I wanted to see
Okay.
myself as an adult. And as an adult, you have goals and requirements and all of this. And so
Right.
I wanted to
Right. So
see
that was
myself.
different.
Yeah, I wanted to see myself as that way. But in reality, I was probably doing the same thing you were doing. I was just having fun. I had an apartment, I
Yeah.
had a car, and I had a boyfriend, not boyfriend. We were on and off their dad. And so in between on my offs, I was just having fun. Like, I was just being a 20-year-old as much as I could be, and I was still a mom, so
Right.
I had to have the bare minimum requirements of a man, but I was just having fun. I didn't have any real goals or requirements or must-haves or anything. I was just doing
Yeah.
something.
That was definitely my situation, as long as I was in that mode where, hey, I'm just having fun, not looking for anything serious. And even if there was a time when there was a boyfriend, that was fine, but it wasn't a thing of, okay, this is going to be my husband, we're going to get married. So
Right,
before I got to that point, yeah, it was just about having fun and enjoying myself.
right,
Now, when it crossed over, maybe into the 30s, it changed a little bit. But at that point, I still didn't require them to be on another level, or to have more than and to do more than. Because at that point, I felt like we were both in a place where we're striving to have something out of life.
right,
Did it
right.
change for you
Yeah.
in the 30s?
So when I got in my 30s, um, I I started making more goals and requirements of myself. And so then I really started to enforce that for somebody else. Because if I was going to hold myself accountable for certain things in life, I surely wanted that same thing out of someone who would be a potential mate. And so I started to be a little more stern with those kind of things. Like, you got to have the bare minimum car, your own place, those kind of things. And then built from there. Like, what's your goals? If you hadn't accomplished something, then what were you doing to get there? Like, clear goals, not like, oh, I think I'm gonna go back to school in a few years or blah blah blah. Like, I wanted to know what you were going to do because I was willing to let you know what I was doing in life. Like, here's what I'm going to do, here's where I am, and here's where I'm going. So yeah, so I think it changed in my 30s because I changed in my 30s. I went in a different direction.
So fast forward to today, when we get that mark and we are over 45 and we're over 50, where are those requirements now in comparison?
I think I've stacked some more on top of it, but I look back and think, maybe I got a little lax again, and
really?
I don't know. When how you look back on yourself and you're like, oh, well, I was really stern about, but when I really evaluate it, maybe I am a little, or was a little lax or something. I know that I'm spending a lot more time evaluating myself. And so maybe I'm not focusing on the other person for the requirements. I'm so busy trying to get myself together. So I'm not, maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. No, I understand that. I think in my mind, and you know how sometimes we can have something in our mind or we know what we expect, what we want, but sometimes it doesn't come out in our decisions.
Right.
So in my mind, I feel like it's a lot different now, today, than in my 20s. And even in my 30s. Like today, I feel like I need somebody who is where I am in life, who has done something, achieved something, and we're on the same level. I don't want to have to reach down and pull you up, not walking in the door. That sounds bad, but
yeah,
it sounds bad, but it is what it is. Now, if I see you and there's some backstory, and there's great potential there, and the motivation is there to do and to be and to become, I could probably work with that. But if I'm just walking in the door and we're meeting, yeah, I want you to meet me. I want us to be on the same page.
Yeah, I want us to. I definitely want someone who walking in the door, we're at least on the same page. Now, I can understand if we get together and you slip a bit or whatever, because that can happen to either of us. But I at least want you to meet me on my level, like the bare minimum,
Right.
And I would think at this age, or at least when I started dating after 45, I thought, okay, well, everybody would at least have the bare minimum, a job, a car, a place to live. Like, that's the bare minimum. I would think everybody would have that. But I was really surprised.
And I think we both found out that that's not necessarily the case.
Right. I was really surprised at how many, men I met that didn't have the bare minimum. They either had a job and a car, but they were living with sister or brother or, something like that. Or they didn't have a car, but they had a job and a place to live. Like, I'm like, what, I mean, I'm not saying you have to have a 2018 or 17 or whatever, a car, because I understand I like to keep my cars until they're done. Like till they don't make it anymore, because I don't care
But
for
they
a car
still
note.
looking good.
Right. That we still keep it up, keep the maintenance on it, the oil change, keep it washed or whatever. But I ran into, when I was dating after 45, I ran into so many guys that had a blue fender and a red bumper, and these are men. Like, men usually take care of their vehicles. Like, at least that's what I thought. But I ran into so many guys like that had like, and again, I don't want to come off like so much better than somebody, because I drive a 2012, so I'm not into cars. Like, if you have a Mercedes or something, I'm not going to be impressed by that. I'm just as impressed if you have a Nissan Altima as your Mercedes. If it runs, you keep it clean, I'm not impressed by your car. But I was just surprised at how many men I met that didn't have the 3 basic requirements. Like, or people guys who didn't have a job. Like, I met a fully grown man who did not have a job, and he went for another 2 years without a job, with any kind of job. Like, not hello, welcome to Walmart, or none of that. Like, he didn't have a job. That just was crazy to me.
Yeah, I would stay away from those.
Oh, but definitely.
Let's talk about has it changed for you as far as appearance wise? Like, what you like and what you look for as far as their look. Did that change for you, or did it stay the same?
Most definitely. Okay, so when I was in my 20s, I always said, I want him to be 6 feet. I want him to be dark skinned. I want him to be kind of stocky, but not like fat or whatever. And, that was unrealistic, because that was unrealistic. But, now looks are like lower on the list. Now, of course, there's an initial attraction. So you have to be attractive. But that's not all that I look for now. Now, there's those other things are higher on the list. And then, does he clean up well is kind of in the middle, like, and so I just want him, my requirements now, and this might be, petty or superficial, whatever. I just want him to be taller than me, I like.
Well, that's not difficult, because you're not very tall.
I get that. But I want him to be at least 5'9", because I wear heels a lot. I still want him to be taller than me, and I know that sounds superficial.
That would be a problem for me, because I am 5'9".
See, but there's a lot of 6 feet dudes out of here. There's a lot of 6'2", 6'4". You get you a tall one. I just want him to be 5'9". That's it.
And I don't think that's asking for a lot in a man.
Right. I want him to be nice looking, but in a different way than it was in my 20s. Like, it just means something different to me now than it did before.
Yeah.
It's
like not nice at the top of that list, but you want someone who looks good, grooms well, take care of themselves, or for me, physically, as well as, anything else. And I too wanted that dark skin, for me, 6'3", 6'4", that was appealing to me. But now it's more so, I do still like the taller end because I am tall, but
Uh-huh.
someone who takes care of themselves physically and who knows how to pull it all together when the occasion calls for it. That's important.
Right. 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 Yeah. I mean, I think that's what's important now. I enjoy clothes and I enjoy dressing up and that kind of thing. So somebody who could be on that level, he could understand, putting a shirt and a pair of pants together. No Steve Harvey collection suits or any of that kind of stuff. None of that. None of those matching sets that guys, like the older guys, sometimes wear, like the shirt and the pants, and
so the linen
like
suits are a no for you?
I don't mind a linen suit though.
Okay.
If he wears it right.
Okay.
Like I don't mind a linen. I actually think it's nice, especially in the summertime when you're going somewhere, hanging out like a winery or something. I think that's actually nice. Yeah. I'm talking about those matching sets that like the pastors wear. So like I just
not
don't like those.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but
okay.
Yeah, it definitely changed. Appearance definitely changed.
Let's wrap it up on that pastor note. Okay, so that gave us a little outlook on how things have changed as far as our view in a mate or a potential mate from our 20s to 30s to 40s and 50s. And I think most importantly, it's changed as far as our expectations and where the person is in their lives, not only mentally, financially, physically, all of that. And I think in a nutshell, they have matured and grown throughout the years as we have.
Right.
So I don't think that's asking for a lot.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not expecting more than what I've done, because
and I think
I
think that's the thing right there. That's most important, because I think when we go out expecting somebody to bring more than what we're bringing, then that's crazy.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm not expecting that. If you could just meet me where I am, then we should be good to go.
I think so. Okay, let's roll into this week's Ratchet Recap. And for this, I just have a couple that I want to hit on. And it's from the reunion of Love and Hip Hop. And I think it's the New York version. And I've seen on social media and also on the reunion itself, and I don't know if you saw it, but when Rich Dollaz and MariahLynn were talking, and Mariah was saying that she loves Rich, and they've been together on and off for 8 years.
Right.
But he was like a deer in headlights.
Right. He was.
And she was getting a lot of flack on social media. Like, honey, he doesn't claim you in the daylight. You wasted 8 years. Move on. Right. What did you think about that? I was like, come on, Rich.
Well, you know what? I guess because I'm a woman, and if this was all real, let's imagine this is all real, because you never know with these reality shows now what's real and what's not. But let's say it was real. I kind of felt sorry for her, because as a woman, I know that it's probably hard to be with somebody and knowing that he can only be with you indoors, or he doesn't want anybody to know. And then you just sometimes want to blurt it out, like, hey, we together. I know y'all don't know, but me and him together. And he say all this I love you stuff and all of this when we at home. And I think she just might have just got overwhelmed with the whole thing and blurted it out.
Yeah,
Because
but she said that she talked to him about it and he didn't say, no, we're not going to say this. No, we're not going to do that. So she fully expected him to back her up. And this is not the first time that she's talked about, I don't know if relationship is the right word, but this is not the first time she's talked about them being together and how she feels about him. But
because she said it on the show one time when him and her were meeting with the lady, the transgender lady. They were meeting together, and she said something, to allude to the fact that they were in a relationship.
Yeah, and even that's not the first time. So she's brought it up a few times. I've never really seen him talk about it. But I think when they were going back and forth in the back, she said, you didn't tell me, because she said before, I'm not going to say anything that he doesn't want me to say. And when we talked about it, he didn't say, don't bring that up. So she felt like he was going to have her back. And I think that was what hurt her and blindsided her, was the fact that when she brought it up, he was just sitting there like, what?
Yeah.
Richie was like caught off guard.
Yeah. He probably didn't realize that, that's what she was going to, do, I guess.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling that.
Yeah, but I wonder, you always wonder why the guy wouldn't want to, say or admit that he's being with her. Like, what is it that you don't want
she's a little rough around the edges. She pops off a whole lot. And he's older, so I can see him not wanting to. That's not what you would envision him having on his arm. I should say.
But let's be clear. Rich Dollaz, like, is he really somebody that he gonna be pulling some high class chick?
But the thing is, he thinks he is. He's very confident and sure of himself. So I can see him not wanting to claim her in public.
Yeah, but she's exactly the type of chick I would see dealing with him, because a chick with her stuff together, who's gonna want to deal with Rich Dollaz? Like, he go from woman to woman, and
Rich definitely thinks he's on another level than that. He does. I can tell by the way he carries himself. He doesn't put himself on her level at all.
Any grown man who was okay with saying he was part of the creep squad.
They all do. They're proud of that creep squad.
I couldn't be with a man who was okay in his grownness, not in his 20s, but in his grownness. He's okay with saying he's a part of a creep squad. No, you still haven't matured enough to be with a woman. Like, no.
Yeah, that was their thing. So what about Sarfaree? And towards the end of the season, when they were I think they went to Jamaica, if I'm not mistaken, and they found out that he had Erica with him, and everybody, they just lost their minds. And Joe verbally attacked him. It carried on into the reunion, where they felt like Sarfaree was wrong for bringing Erica.
Well, okay, maybe I missed something, but I'm like, okay, Erica Mena and Sin Santana were a couple of years ago, weren't they? Like, years. This was a while back. So to me, if he wanted to bring her, if you two are still beefing like that, where you can't be in the same room together, so every time Erica Mena comes around, we have to alert everybody. We got to send out emails and texts that Erica's coming to town. Like, who does that?
Well, according to them, or Sin at the reunion. She said she's cool with Erica. It's not a problem. If they see each other, she can definitely be cordial with her. Their issue was, according to them, they felt like because of their relationship with Sarfaree, he should have given them a heads up so they know how to move, as they put it.
You shouldn't. Why do you need to know how to move? She's one person. You either speak or you don't, or whatever. Like, do you think she's gonna come in the room blasting people? Like, what do you mean you need to know how to move?
And the thing
I'm not gonna be.
But the thing to note with that situation, the thing to note with that situation is the fact that she wasn't around them on this trip. Nobody saw her. They knew she was there because she posted on social media. So it's not like he brought her to dinner or he brought her when we went ziplining. So again, it's like, what was the big deal?
He didn't bring her around. You mad because she's in the same area that you're in? Like, come on, I don't have to, I don't have to send out an alert every time I bring her around. So how long does that last? You two are together and have a child, like a year-old child. And we still on this, let me know when she come to town so I can know how to move stuff?
Well,
that's not how
at the reunion, Sarfaree said it was for the cameras. He said Joe didn't pop off until the cameras got around. He said on the bus ride over to the dinner or wherever, Joe didn't say anything. It was only an issue when the cameras were rolling. So Sarfaree kind of called him out at the reunion on that, and basically I was a little surprised because Sarfaree is usually the one that's always joking and having a good time, but at the reunion he was like, that's that TV stuff, that's when you started popping off. And for Rich to have something to say when it was years ago, and Sarfaree was like, basically, don't talk about her like that, don't disrespect her, and then this grown man gonna run across the table to try to get to Sarfaree.
Yes, like
dude.
I was like, Rich, like, seriously, like, I don't have to tell you. Sarfaree didn't owe him to tell him. Yeah, you asked me was I dating her, but Rich and Erica Mena were years ago. Like, why are you? Who you expect people to report to you every time they start dating somebody you used to date just because y'all know each other? Like, no, get over it. If he didn't tell you, then be mad or whatever, but jumping over tables, you too grown for that.
Exactly.
That's one of the reasons why I say no classy chick gonna get with a grown man who's still jumping over tables over an ex from years ago. Like, years ago.
Yeah,
and he's about to marry this girl.
That was not a good, that was not a good look for him at all. It took him back. It was not a good look. And Remy said it really well. Like, at the end of the day, it's nobody's business about who Sarfaree is dating. Sarfaree and Erica's relationship is nobody's business. He's not forcing anybody to be around her. Nobody's business. And why is everybody so pressed about Sarfaree and Erica? Let them be.
Yep.
And I agree with that.
I think I read that, because like you said, Sarfaree is usually like really happy-go-lucky or whatever. And he was kind of really serious on the reunion. And he didn't even want to come in the beginning, but he came and he was kind of serious. I read that he's contemplating not coming back to the show.
And I can understand that. They rag on him a lot. He gets a lot from them. But I like Sarfaree. Yeah. He's a fun person. And sometimes it gets to the point where it is too much. And once they get on and they use it for their platform or whatever the reason is for getting on, then get off, move on. Make the best of it while you're there and move on. Well, I think that will wrap it up for this week's Ratchet Recap. And we will talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
If you would like to share your comments or let us know what you think about the episode, please email us at whawelikeinc@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at What We Like.
Make sure that you guys are doing what you like this week.
Because we'll definitely be doing what we like. Bye.
Bye.